Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I was just cruising around my house, packing to fly to work. I've got a fly in and fly out job. Anyway, I'm just cruising around my house, I'm packing, I've got some YouTube playing on the TV. One video finishes, another one flicks over, and it comes up as this game scoop from IGN. They're talking about Hellblade, and some of the misinformation and conversation that these guys are having around Hellblade 2 is just completely misinformed. This is what we talk about when we talk about the journalists in the gaming media have no integrity around things. I think if you're going to speak on a subject, you should, mostly know everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes. Everyone does, and that's fine. But if you're going to be reviewing a game, you probably want to get your facts straight. So I think we should jump into this and just see what they've got to say.
Nothing to do with it.
Okay, I promised the opposite of a retro game. Newly released game, 7 years in development, 5 years since its announcement. The latest Xbox console exclusive, launching day one into Game Pass. It is Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga or Sacrifice?
Saga. Yeah.
This is Senua's Saga.
Sacrifice is the first one.
First clue. I mean, dude, you're a games journalist going on to a podcast for a media company. You don't even know the name of the game.
Because it's set in Iceland, and Iceland has sagas.
That's true. Anyway, I haven't played it. But Sam and Mark have.
Yeah.
I played a lot of it. Apparently, Mark played more.
Well, it sounds like we both had the same idea.
So, second clue that there's a problem. I played a lot of it. Mark played more. You are a journalist. You're going on to a show to talk about a game that you haven't finished. I can understand creators doing that, because we've got other lives, but this is not other lives. We don't have other lives. I'm a spy in my other life. But this is your job. This is not my, this is not my job. All right. When I do my job, I make sure I've got all the facts and I do things right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be very good at my job.
I'll start with a little anecdote, man.
I'm only going to say nice things about it, first of all.
Okay, this game's great. All right, on to Sam. No, I originally started it, and I was like, I straight up do not like this. And then Damon was like, do you want to be on Scoop for Hellblade? And I'm like, well, damn it. I probably should play a little bit more. And
well, first you said yes, and then you realized you had to play more.
I said yes, and then it sat with me, and I was like, okay, I have to play more. And I'm happy.
It became homework really quickly after you said yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy to report I ended up liking it a little bit more than my first initial thoughts. So when you first asked me, do you want to be on? And I was like, I don't have a lot of nice things to say. Now I only have some not nice things to say. There's still not nice things to say, though.
Okay.
Do you think that guy's okay? That got the sword in his ribs?
Yeah, he's fine.
He took his anti-sword medicine that morning, so he's immune to swords.
As long as it missed everything that's in his chest, then you can just pull it out.
We should say that IGN gave this game an 8 out of 10, a great out of 10.
Yeah.
And that's, on Open Critic, it has an 82. So it's getting great score. It's getting great scores from everywhere.
Yeah. It's still fairly kind of all over the place. I've seen a lot of people down on it, but the Metacritic doesn't lie. You can't. The game's an 8. It doesn't matter.
What was that? I don't know why they were playing The Simpsons. It didn't make any sense.
What you think about it? It's an 8.
but Mark, what did you end up liking better the more you played?
Wait, what did you say?
On Open Critic, it has an 82. So it's getting great score. It's getting great scores from everywhere.
Yeah, it's still fairly kind of all over the place. I've seen a lot of people down on it, but the Metacritic doesn't lie. You can't. The game's an 8. It doesn't matter what you think about it. It's an 8.
Is he being serious?
But Mark, what did you end up liking better the more you played? Because I think we can say definitively that the beginning of this game is very slow.
Oof. It's rough.
Yeah, so look, that's one thing I can 110% agree with. The beginning of the game is really slow, but it's not for a huge amount of time. The game, like, it's not a long game, which is not a problem, right? But yeah, the beginning of the game is slow. It's sort of, I don't know, it's setting up the story, which I think is a really good story. So yeah, I can't disagree with that. That's fair.
That first like cliff climb right in the first minutes of the game is like one of the most brutal things I've ever had to do in a video game. That's rough, man. It takes like several minutes.
You hold up for 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's really boring.
It's like the start of No Man's Sky for me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, again, I can go against that. Like, that's subjective, but like, it's supposed to feel sort of brutal. You're supposed to be feeling like how beaten up she's gotten from the beginning of the game. The ship crashes, she's underwater, she gets smashed on rocks, then she's got to climb up this cliff. She's cold, she's wet, she's battered, she's bruised. You're supposed to be viscerally feeling that. And I guess if you don't invest yourself and you're not in the right headspace, then that could be boring. I mean, again, the whole opening section was slow, but yeah, I think it did what it set out to achieve. So
it's like herding those sheep in a
Twilight
Princess,
yeah.
but for longer.
Well, okay. I also want to say, first of all, this game looks unbelievable just from a graphical perspective.
Yeah.
And
so let me
I am going to check it out for that reason.
Yeah. So let me throw out a comparison though. It's very Dragon's Lair. Like, it's like there's so little to do and to act on that you just kind of watch the game be pretty. However,
yeah, see, again, that's absolutely not true. A lot of the walking sections where you do walk forward, and you walk forward a fair bit, like in this section that they're about to show now, you're walking forward, developing a character, right? Like properly spending time. You've got the Furies in your head. They get that wrong as well. Like later on, they're called Furies. These guys don't even do the research. You've got the Furies in your head, sort of talking to you, telling you not to trust this guy, and you're developing his character, and trying to understand what's happening, and where you can find these people to stop your people from being kidnapped and killed. So like, it's story development, which is no different to the first one, except you've got other characters in this pretty quickly, right? And it adds to the game. So like, it just astounds me. I would say a lot of these people were touting the first one as a masterpiece, and this one they're like, oh no, this one's just it's too much.
You have to also take into account that this is set in the southwest peninsula of Iceland, where pretty means occasionally there's moss, but it is really a volcanic landscape. It's Mordor plus Death Stranding. So like, the water looks amazing and the moss looks amazing and the lava looks amazing. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, that's also not true. Later on in the game, there's, slightly different landscapes. There's some truth to that. But again, it all looks amazing. Like, there's not a whole lot of foliage and stuff in it, like 110%, but there is sections where there is foliage and different types of landscapes. It's all one biome, just differences within the biome. But like, to say that is just flat out not true. That tells me he hasn't played it to a specific point. I know now straight away that he hasn't played the game. And in my opinion, if you haven't played the game to its completion, right, and you're a fucking journalist, then you're not qualified to get on a media site and talk about it. Like, play it's your job, bro. Play the game to its completion. It's 5 hours long. You can't do that?
That's what they have. That's the game.
Okay.
So it is like Dragon's Lair though. Like, you do very little in the game to start. There's more to do later, but it's not like it expands. It's all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm playing God of War. It just adds, 3 more.
Did you notice that there? Did you guys notice that? Did you notice what he said there? Did you get that? This is something that we were talking about on the Infinite podcast during the week, and whether you like it or not, Xbox hasn't had that number one massive, acclaimed big hit like God of War, and so every single game that comes out is good. I mean, Xbox has them. They've got Gears of War, that's huge. They've got Forza, huge, acclaimed. They've got Halo, not so acclaimed lately, but I tell you what, that game is fucking amazing now. But like, every single, and everyone does this, but he's doing it now. Every single Xbox game that comes out, it's going to be compared to the God of Wars. Like, it's not the one, and if it's not the one, it's going to get slated. It's going to get taxed. It's going to have that held against it as well. There's the expectations, right? Hellblade shouldn't have to do any more than what Hellblade is, right? Spider-Man 2. It didn't do a whole lot more than there was there wasn't new mechanics, there was new upgrades. But it was pretty much the same game, right? With a few little updates. And that's exactly what Hellblade 2 is. It is very similar to the first game with a few little updates. But the expectations are what these guys are judging it on. They're not judging this game for what it is. They're judging this game for what they expected it to be, or they're judging it because Xbox hasn't had that one big hit yet. And every single game that comes out, it has to be that one.
Switches to the Switch puzzles that, and I'm not joking, were one Switch for 3 hours.
Yeah. So the things I like is like when I was playing Stellar Blade, I always wanted to get to the next level because I really liked the music in the game and I wanted to hear the next song. That's kind of how this was. I wanted to see the next area. I was playing the game. I'm playing it on PC using a 4090, so it's like gorgeous. And I was texting at one point and I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, like it really is a breathtaking game. And I think at the end of the year, when it comes to sound design and obviously like graphics, art design, this game will obviously be the talk of the town.
And it should be winning awards for that.
No shot at wins game of the year. No shot at probably even gets nominated.
And that's true. There is no shot that it gets nominated for game of the year. And the reason why? These fucking guys. Because these guys get the vote. That's why. Because of these guys, this won't get nominated for Game of the Year. It's got nothing to do with the strength of the game. It's got to do with these guys.
Sorry, not the actual. There's already like 4 better games this year than Hellblade 2.
I'd say maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
hundreds.
more.
Yeah. There's like a lot of the kind of outside area stuff is matchable to real life locations. So I've been sending a lot of images and stuff to my Icelandic family and friends, and they just think it's really cool that that's there. And like I from going to Iceland a lot, like recognize places in it too, which is really cool. I like that part of it. And then the whole subplot with the hidden folk, the Holden folk, that's like a legit thing that people in Iceland of certain generations and certain areas believe in elves and other things. And one of the things they believe in is hidden folk. It's like people that dress a little strangely, that are kind of phantasmic and live in natural environments. And like it was really cool to like hear about that all in this game and how they like play that up and how they treat it. So like that, there's some really neat Icelandic connections in it. So I really like that about it. One thing I want, as I said, I'm only gonna say nice things about this game.
Don't worry, I'll take over when you're done.
No, I have to point out that the psychosis talking is just so annoying. It's terrible.
I was worried
and it's not
about that.
annoying for the sake of being annoying. It's not like, oh, I'm learning a lot about how difficult this is to live with. Like that's a really noble pursuit of a game like this, but it talks over the dialogue constantly.
Yeah, so that's not true either. So it doesn't talk over the dialogue constantly. I think there's like 1 or 2 sections where it's talking whilst there's more talking. Again, that shows me that you haven't played the game to its completion. And it was one of my critiques. I agree with that. So the Furies act as your UI, which takes away from, and this is the thing, I don't think these guys have actually analyzed this game properly. So it's not that they're any different really they're better. The sound is better. The directional sound, the binaural sound is amazing, but they're not any different except for the fact that they act as a HUD in some ways. Trying to help you with puzzles, which you guys will hear these guys talk about in a minute, which is fine. I think do that. But it did take away from the experience, and I can't deny that. But I wouldn't call them annoying. And yes, this is what Psychosis is. But you're going to hear them say in like a couple of seconds, like, wait for it.
Yep.
It's you never hear somebody speak without your internal monologue speaking over it. And a lot of times you're in like a really pretty zone or like something mysterious, and it's just barking constant commands at you or things about solving the puzzle that are not necessarily, it's not like it's helpful because the puzzles are super easy, but it's like, oh, she solved it. She solved it. And then no, what's the next puzzle? She didn't solve it. She solved it. Like that. That's constant.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stop.
What was novel in Hellblade 1 becomes very quickly annoying in Hellblade 2. And yeah.
So, I mean, you said it there. There's no real, they loved it in Hellblade 1. They don't like it in Hellblade 2. You can make the critique like I made the critique. I think using it as a HUD took away from it. But like, what's different, dude? What's different between 1 and 2? That's, if you haven't got that actual critique of it, you're just like, it's annoying. Well, why wasn't it annoying in 1?
Yeah, to further drive it, the fates is what they're called. Like they're your HUD, right? This game has no HUD. So he is making that critique. Well, good on him. But so it's not the fates, it's the Furies, bro. Like, I guess it's a small mistake, but they just make so many mistakes in this podcast. It's unbelievable. This goes out to the casuals who don't fucking know any better. And you're you're just tainting the game. And I believe you're doing that because it's Xbox. Then the fates are instead being like,
Yeah, I didn't know how to block until 4 hours in the game.
the fates are instead.
I didn't know how to block until 4 hours in the game. I didn't know how to block until 4 hours in the game. It took you 4 fucking hours to figure out that R button was block. Are you serious? Is this guy's our media? You're a gamer, dude. Are you serious? Like, even first fight, I was trying out everything that I could try out to see what it did. That's what gamers do. You didn't know how to block until 4 hours into a fucking 5-hour game. I mean, I'm at 10 hours and I haven't finished it, but like halfway through a game, you don't know how to press a button? Are you serious, bro? And then you say that like live on your podcast. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the people. These guys are the people that write your reviews and your articles. And they're not gamers. And we need to teach, Jedi Knight, shout out to him. He said to me once, and it's true, we need gamers to be taught how to be journalists. You can't teach journalists how to be gamers.
Instead being like, I feel like you could climb that cliff. I feel like you could do this. And it's like what Sam's saying about the puzzles is true. They're not hard. You're not solving a puzzle. You're just doing a puzzle. If that makes any sense.
That's how
like,
it is, yeah.
You're not getting that like portal, like, or even from the.
Yeah, look, I'll 110% give him that. That's true. I think I had a little bit of trouble with one of the puzzles. And when I say a little bit of trouble, like it was a few minutes of, Yeah, the puzzles aren't hard, and I'm happy for that because they're just story beats, you know, triggers for next parts of the gameplay sort of thing. So they serve a purpose. I get it. They're better than the puzzles are better than the first one. So if you played the first one, that was one of the things I think that made me put down the first one initially. I went back and finished it, but yeah, I agree. Like, you know, the puzzles are easy, which is what he's saying.
The first game, you're not getting that like, aha, okay, now I know how to do this. You're just like, I instantly see how to do this, and now I just have to do it. And you're done, and you're like, thank God that's over. That's there was nothing satisfying about solving that, except for these like people in my ears just talking to me over and over and over. The only other aspect of gameplay besides the puzzles is the combat.
Yeah, tell
and
me
the
about
combat is it's as weak as it comes when it comes to combat.
Wait,
It's
Sam, is the combat Dragon's Lair or is it Infinity Blade?
No, it's Infinity Blade. That's exactly right.
so
But it's less cool than that because you do just fight the same enemies and they're all easy and you can never die.
Oh, bro. So that's incorrect again. They're not all the same. In fact, there's stark differences, and there's differences in how you have to fight them. Especially through one section of the game, the enemies have a different sort of stance, and so you have to sort of figure out how to sort of get them with a swing, because it won't just swing, and if you just miss them because you've swung, it hits them. It doesn't work like that. Like your sword has to make contact with their body, and that's a hit. It's really visceral. I probably agree with the from what I've heard. I haven't played the Eternity Blade, so but that's what everyone says, so that's fine. But for me, this combat is awesome. Like the mocap, the cinematography, the like the impact of the weapons. You know, and when you like shove a sword into someone's body, it's unbelievable. I love it for what it is. You know, I was hoping for the a more of an expanded combat, and I think everyone was, and that's your expectation. But I kept my expectations in check, and you always should for a game. You know, how often do we have to hear that like you should let the artists make the decisions and respect those decisions, and then as soon as they do, if it's Xbox, bad.
You know, it's just, you know, you just kind of like dodge and block until you win.
Yeah, but
You said you didn't know how to block for 4 hours. How did you?
okay, so what I want to say is not going to make sense, but stick with me here. You know how in a game
Nothing you guys have said has made sense so far. Not nothing, a little bit, but
when you have a sword, you press the button and you slash your sword, right? So you feel like you're slashing the sword. In this game, you press the button and you feel like you're activating an FMV character to slash her sword. Like that's
Who misses every time?
Who? No, see, here's the thing.
who misses every this guy should not be playing games. Who misses every time. Bro. Like, why don't you say I'm a bad gamer and then just fuck, wow. Like absolutely wow. So it doesn't feel like that at all. That's just incorrect. And I don't think that's subjective. That's objective. And no one I've spoken to has said that. And so I feel like there's a disingenuous motive behind that. It does not feel like that at all. It feels like you are like it is the most visceral combat I have ever experienced, and it is absolutely fucking amazing. I wish there was more of it, to be honest.
Thing though, she's not always missing. Sometimes her sword is just going through them because at that moment you're not supposed to be able to hit
Oh
them.
yeah,
Like
that's kind
just
of like Prince of Persia.
What? That is just not fucking true. That is not true at all. If you make contact with this sword, it registers a hit. That's categorically fucking made up. That is made up bullshit. That is just not true. Not once did I make contact with an enemy and it not register the hit. There was a reaction, a response.
Right?
That's just how the game is. It's so
sorry. I need to classify what I'm saying. It's like old Prince of Persia where you start a jump and you can't do anything about it after that. Just the animation's just going to.
Well, that's Castlevania.
Fucking that's not true either. Jesus. Like you can literally cancel an animation. So you can start a swing and then you can go into a roll and it looks fluid as fuck. Like it will just cancel the animation but incorporate it into your roll. Like it is just amazing how well how realistic it makes everything seem. These guys have that guy down the bottom, he hasn't played the fucking game. Like I don't think he's played it at all. I think maybe he's played like 10 minutes and didn't get it and put it down.
Me too, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But it's like
that's very rude.
It's like it's cinematic to a fault when it comes to its combat. When you're slashing a sword and the sword's going through the guy, because what happens is like you slash the sword, it goes through him, and then he grabs you and then pushes you to the middle of the arena. Right? Mm-hmm. That's not fun. You're playing a cutscene. You're not controlling Senua at that point. You're controlling a movie. And the movie's telling you, no, you can't do this.
So this is the thing. Now I think they want to turn the whole movie thing around on Xbox, guys. Look, I've already been going for 26 minutes on this, but this is what I'm talking about with the media. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. They have no idea what they're fucking talking about. And they just make these wild accusations that aren't true. Just not true, man. And like, there is sections where like you hit someone and they're not supposed to die. So they'll grab you and like throw you. And so if you make contact, that's incorporated into the grab. Like there's a visceral response like every time. I literally only have the boss battle left to do. Like I've played the entire game. I've just got the boss battle at the end. I'm just about to step into that area. But look, if you're a journalist, now that's the thing. Like, I haven't completely finished the game, but I played it for about 11 hours. And I'm right at the end, and I'm a creator. I have another job, which I have to get moving to pack my stuff, but I had to stop to say something about this. But like, I have another job. This is not my job. You know what I mean? These guys here, this is their job. This is what they do for a living. And they can't get it right. Fuck. Like, if that's your job to finish a 5-hour game, finish the 5-hour game, bro. Anyway, look, I just was absolutely astounded at what I was hearing while I was like, just packing up to head out tomorrow. So I had to get in and make a quick video. I'll probably drop this on the hard drive and I'll do it. I won't even edit it, man. I'll put this out just so you guys can see it. If you like this kind of content, let me know. I've got a hell of a lot more on the way. I've got scripts that I'm running. I've got this chair behind me and a seat. I bought that amazing chair, loving it. So I wanted to do a bit of a unboxing and review on that. There's a lot coming. I've got memberships turned on. Please hit the like and subscribe if you don't want to jump in the membership. And don't forget to catch us on the Infinite Podcast, 8 p.m. EST every Friday. And I'll see you in the next one.